All right, Doc, we are streaming. We're live. It is
This is
starting
by
up on
far,
YouTube. Yeah, the live
this is
stream. We
by
are
far the
live
worst.
on. We're live on YouTube. Shut up! I got to tell people you're on the moon since your laptop crapped out on you or whatever just happened. So what's
Well,
up,
this
man?
is the worst idea we've ever had.
I
Worse
wouldn't.
than, worse than the broads. And yeah, whoever was talking the other night on the test, Mrs. Doc knows how she's spoken about on this show. We're in Philly, dude.
I'm really confused by what you mean. What did Mrs. Doc? What did Mrs. Doc do or say?
Somebody on the test the other night was saying, does Mrs. Doc know how Doc talks about it on the air? Man, look at all those criminals in Philly. Just a bunch of fucking illiterate pieces of crap.
Yeah. Okay. Um, They got a lot of nice signs tonight, man. I mean, signs had seemed to go way of. Remember the Monday Night Wars, the way the signs were back in the
Man,
day.
that was out of control. The
I need to
best
figure out
one
how to.
ever.
Go ahead.
The best one. There was two best signs ever in the Monday Night Wars. One was Raven fears showers, and the other one was Scott Hall drank my beer.
How do you remember that Raven one? I don't remember that one.
Because I liked Raven. You see last week when the big fat broad was out there when Roman was in the ring and she misspelled Roman Reigns.
I did.
Man, it's good to know that Marks can't spell no matter what
That's
decade
nice.
it is.
Marks. That's Doc.
All right, so here comes Captain Leukemia out to the ring, but I got a question for you. Um, we're here. We've been up all day. I had to get on an airplane. I'm in to the moon. How long are we gonna make it tonight?
I'm going an hour and a half tops. I'm thinking there's no way I can go much further than that. I think I'll pass out before I get to that point. I really do. It's not me just joking. It's just one of those things, man. I don't know how we make it past an hour and a half. I just
What were you
don't.
saying earlier that you think this whole leukemia thing's a work?
No, I want you to make that ridiculous claim. Go ahead. I want you to tell people what you think about Roman's leukemia.
God damn it, pal! We've tried everything. They got to use cancer to get people over because the creative sucks.
No, you don't, but you don't really believe that, right?
I don't care what I don't believe much of it. I don't have strong convictions on any of this.
So, Doc, remember how you were fussing last week? How they were showing a recap? What are they doing right now?
Yeah, yeah. I've waited all week to see Raw, and here's a recap. Why can't we just start the proceedings?
Now, do you agree? A lot of times I'll talk about on the Mid South show how back in the day recaps made a lot more sense, especially in the '80s when VCRs weren't prevalent and whatnot. Do you agree that recaps back then made a lot of sense versus now?
Oh yeah. Okay, so he's got a man bun out there, which is a terrible look. Um, you got an over under on how long this is about to go?
We are what 3 minutes into Raw right now, and Roman is getting ready to cut his promo. This whole segment, not just him talking, you're looking at 15 to 20 easily. That's what usually happens. I need to figure out how to put the closed caption on my TV. That way, I can at least kind of read what he's supposedly saying, since we don't have the sound up.
Yeah, I just thought that might be a good idea too. I tried that,
So
but
Josh Fields,
I'm in a hotel room, so I had to like find the right button there.
Josh Fields just said this will go 15 minutes. Shard Johnson said it'll go 12. We did have somebody asked, how about Arn getting fired by sending Fox in the ring drunk? You said you read this earlier today. It was in one of the dirt sheets. Doc, what are you thinking? What do you think about that quote unquote report?
Let's just say that if my name is Arn Anderson and I'm Arn Anderson and I've worked at the WWE for 18 years, I ain't getting fired over Alicia Fox's trifling ass.
And that's it. That's all you got to say.
I don't know.
a
I
more
mean,
reputable news source to make that claim. I'm not believing www.imakeshitup.com for WWE. I didn't see it from a reputable source.
it could be complicated. He could be trying to cover for her so that she doesn't get fired, and then he takes the heat and they get her into rehab. Don't know that it was a good idea to send her out intoxicated in 2019 in a corporate.
I don't think she was drunk, Doc. Doc, are you there, or did I lose you?
I think Vince is thinking about the shareholders.
Okay, so if Vince is thinking about the shareholders, then why would Roman fake? Why would they write in a storyline for fake cancer? You can't do that in a publicly traded company.
So we're going to sit here and try to make perfect logical sense of this.
I'm just saying, you're the one accusing him of.
Let me reduce our time on air to about 36 minutes then.
Okay, all right. On to so with Arn, do you believe that report?
It could just be that Arn was tired of their shit and was looking for any reason to get out of there, and just Vince hopped his ass and he said, nah, bruh. Speaking of nah, bruh, where is Mr. Nah, bruh tonight?
I actually talked to him earlier, and for everybody out there who's asking where Harper is he's working. He is not attending. He actually started when I asked him about Mardi Gras. He was cursing up a storm. He just was.
Man, the natives hate that shit, huh?
I mean, like, I kind of miss it a little because it's been so long since I've been and been able to experience it. But just in general, I mean, when I was there, I stopped going. You just get tired of it. So he's out and about working.
You get tired of seeing titties. So he's working.
Yeah, well, Craig just said on the live stream, is Harper at Mardi Gras trying to find another squirter? I mean, the odds on that are 50-50, Craig, just to let you know. Alicia Fox drunk would be one hell of a character. Somebody typed that.
Might as well. So, yeah, like, here's the thing about Harper Squirter.
I don't know.
That was like a random hookup. So, like, if you have, like, a girlfriend or something long-term, and okay. But, man, he just brushed up against a squirter. Like, it was hit-and-run squirt.
Okay, Jesus Lord. So Roman, I guess, talked a minute, and now Seth is out here. We're 7 minutes in, and Seth came out, and he's talking now. So we got a little bit of action going on here. Yeah, we got something. They're talking back and forth. Seth is pointing at the WrestleMania signs. Seth looks very aggressive right now. I don't know what the heck's going on because we can't hear the sound, but it's actually kind of entertaining trying to figure out.
He says he's going to go to WrestleMania. He said he's going to go to WrestleMania and beat Brock.
Okay, is that what he said? How do you know? Did you read his lips?
I got closed captioning.
Okay. Oh, see, I don't have.
I can read and talk and do all this stuff.
Let me try to get this closed captioning on this damn thing, because I sure am having a hard time. But okay, so now they look like they settled down. I mean, like, seriously, man. It's 8 minutes in and they're just talking.
Not one of them said anything I care about either.
You don't know that.
I've been reading along.
Okay, I got my closed captioning on up now too. So all right. Well, see, you know what's funny about this whole situation is, do you remember the Brock and Roman match? And then Seth was the one who ran in and ended up winning. That was at like the Santa Clara freaking WrestleMania. You don't remember. See, how am I supposed to do this with you? Oh, no, I don't remember that.
Well, maybe you should go ahead and call our guest that's going to be on in a little bit. Do you need to announce that we're going to have a guest in a little bit?
Yeah, if you hear any weird noises in the background, one thing, we're going to have a guest in about 20 minutes. And then the other thing, too, is if you hear any noises in the background, I'm actually in a room where I actually have to have a TV because where I normally record does not have a television because it is the most quiet room in my house that I normally record in. So you don't have to hear kids screaming and wives yelling and all that good stuff. Doc goes into seclusion as well when we record. Harper, well, he just records from his bedroom he's lived in for 43 years now. So if you hear any weird noises in the background, it's because I'm not in my normal location so that I can watch Raw and talk about it with you guys. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that we will have a guest also in about 20 minutes. So I'll be dialing our guest up. This is too long, Doc. They're 10 minutes in and they're going back and forth. This is what happens when you need to fill up 3 hours.
And they're friends. So, yay. What, are they going to break out some milk and cookies in a minute?
I think Roman just said he wanted to get the band back together one last time. And then that got cheers and applause according to the closed caption. What do you all think out there? Get the Shield back together or what?
No. Let me answer that for everyone. No one cares.
You do
Ambrose
know
is leaving.
I think that's a work. I think that's a potential work, Ambrose leaving. I really do. Because
hey, did you hear that Luke Perry died today?
We're talking wrestling right now. Yes, R.I.P. Luke Perry.
Well, Luke Perry's son is a wrestler who's on the AEW roster already. So that's how I tied it back to wrestling, pal.
I know, and it was rather unfortunate that he passed, but, he was a big fan. I read something from Dave Meltzer today that said he was a part of the Flair 30 for 30. Like, he helped with producing it or something? Did you hear that? Did you know
I
that?
didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, but I watched me and Harper watched 90210 back in the day. I can tell you that.
I told you I watched it a little. I mean, I wasn't like a weekly, every single week type dude to watch it, but I watched it a little. It was a good show as Roman's still talking and they're out there more time. Doc, we said 15 to 20. What are you thinking, man? This is pushing the limits of what we
Well,
said
they can't go. Here's the thing: they got a natural bumper here because they got to get to the ad sales. So it's not like it could go forever because they got to sell products.
Shout out to T. Kim Smith on the. I can't read every single message on here, but he says they're going to sell some new T-shirts. They definitely will with the Shield getting back together. They did it last time they got them back
Why?
together.
Who buys that crap?
A lot of people do, Doc. Just because you're a curmudgeon and don't like cool things doesn't mean that other people don't.
When's the last time you bought yourself a wrestling shirt?
Hey, Mike Prue, I see you out there. Shard, Lee, King, Jose Corona, everybody, Brian, I see you too. When's the last time I bought a wrestling T-shirt? Actually, recently. I got one recently.
What'd you get?
I'm supporting a friend of mine in ROH. I got in two previous guests on this show, the Beer City Bruiser and the Brawler Brian Milonas. I got their tag team T-shirt. So there you go. I got to support my friends out there. It's a pretty cool looking shirt too. I'll send you a picture of it. I'll send you a link to it. Yeah, it's real nice. It's a cool shirt, man.
How did it? It must be an extra large to get those two big fat asses on there.
Damn. I tell you what, man, Milonas makes Bruiser look like he's small, which is crazy.
Uh-oh. Let's get the band back together. We're so close now because they're all on the same camera shot.
Bring Ambrose out here right now.
This is so exciting.
Wow. I agree, Craig. Scripted promos kill me, but they are all we have now. I don't know what else we can do. This is just unreal. Okay, so Ambrose is coming out, and
here's the problem. Rollins is a good wrestler. Reigns is mediocre, and Dean Ambrose is uninteresting. But this is what passes for stardom in 2019.
Say that again.
I don't know what I said. Man, I'm getting sleepy already, though. I got to tell you.
You're not drunk already.
I like this Elias, dude. I think he's got a little something.
Where are you getting Elias from?
Oh, I may be a little bit ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert.
No. By the time it goes out to the live feed, you're right. But it was funny because you saw Elias about 3 seconds before me. So they use Elias. Elias just ran out and cracked Dean Ambrose, attacked him from behind with his guitar. 6,000 the guitars. He's doing the Jeff Jarrett. and Rollins and Reign, run up the ramp to see if they can help. And now we are 15 minutes in, and Dean is keeled over on the ramp and just got clocked. Shout out, Josh Fields. I will be glad to shout you out. Thanks for being a Hall of Fame patron. And I'm shouting out your promotion, your independent promotion, IWE Pro. So go to @IWE Pro on Twitter if you want to know more about Josh's promotion. Yeah. So
I'll make a special appearance there. I need $5,000 in trans.
Josh, don't mind him. He's an idiot. Oh boy.
Where's that promotion located, by the way?
Georgia, I believe. I'm
real close to Georgia. I'm only one state over tonight.
Okay.
I'm deep into Florida.
We're gonna get an update on Ronda Rousey and the Raw Women's Championship. If you remember last week, Ronda called Becky a ginger douche. So we're gonna get an update on all that. Actually, that's the hottest thing going right now. And oh my, we do I have your attention now? It looks like
there's
Triple H.
Hey, just so everybody out there watching, I heard somebody post on YouTube today. They thought I was like Jeff Foxworthy. I look like that guy on the screen right there, that African American gentleman, except white Lashley.
No, you don't. That's far from reality. You look more like Baron Corbin.
Wait, what?
You look more like Baron Corbin.
That's racist.
Okay. Doc, here's a question for you. What do you think about Charlie, the interviewer?
Who?
The interviewer. The chick that's doing the interview.
The interviewer.
Yes.
She's a little ethnic for my taste.
What the hell does that mean?
I like them a little bit more Becky and a little bit less LaFonda.
So if y'all don't know, Doc loves his broads a little pale and very, very pale.
I don't know. She looks like a generic chick. How about that?
She don't
What's
do nothing.
This?
Let me surprise you. She doesn't do anything for me. Does that shock you?
No, not at all.
All right.
So is he out there yet on your screen?
Finn Balor is just coming out, the Intercontinental Champion, Finn Balor. I wonder who he's taking on.
Do you think that guy ever stands there and thinks, man, I had a lot more fun when I was over in New Japan?
That's a good question.
I mean, not like the pay or getting to be here, the catering or whatever, but just like from the artistic side and the storyline side. If you're more wrestler than sports entertainer, that's got to be a soul-crushing experience to be on the main roster.
I mean, do you remember we watched those New Japans when he was there? Or didn't you? I watched them, didn't you?
Yeah. He was an intriguing character. He had that kind of dead-eye stare and just with the Bullet Club, he'd point his fingers, and he seemed kind of psychopathic. And
how great was he as a heel, though? Because he was a heel on all the stuff we watched.
Yeah.
I mean, he was so good. I mean, he just, I don't know, man. Well, we've said this a bunch of times. I mean, unlike old school territory wrestling, a lot of times they sterilize wrestlers and the whole 50-50 thing and whatnot. I mean, I don't hate him in WWE. I haven't watched enough to have a real good opinion of him, but
hey, here's the dirty little secret. There's very few people that I'm going to see tonight that I hate. It's worse. I just don't give a shit.
So I'm glad you said that. So it's never been the talent, or at this point in time, it's not the talent with you. It's just what when it comes to WWE.
There's a couple of things that you can tell that the writing is just ridiculously bad. The creative is uninspired. I don't like how it's shot. I don't like the shaky camera. I don't like it being in the same looking building every week. The homogenized sterileness of it all
just drives you up a wall.
drives me away.
And let's be real, during football season, how much do you and I watch it?
Very rarely. I mean, we're in that. Hey, I got to tell you, if I was back at Turner at Mansion right now, I'd be watching the Mavericks, pal.
Are the Mavs on tonight?
Oh yeah, man. I got to tell you something. Ever since she spit out that kid, Mrs. Miz has got them boobies hanging out. She's looking good.
That big fake thing's been out for the longest.
Yeah, but you get that milky silicone mixture going, man.
What?
That's gonna be tasty.
Okay. Mike Prue, he's gonna mention something about that on this coming Thursday's episode. So just stay tuned. I don't want to ruin it and ask him what you're asking me to ask him now, because it's like you're reading his mind. He says something about what you're asking on this Thursday's episode that will drop. So keep that in mind, Mike. Thank you though for that nudge there. But he mentions it on that. T-Cam, this is the go home show for a pay-per-view Sunday, fellas. I know, and that's what worries me. Let me read a couple of these, Doc. The King, longtime listener and patron, they're building the Shield reunion. Craig, I love Craig. Craig's a good dude. There's nothing on this show that makes me want to come back to watch more. Doc.
No.
He's right there.
So here's let's take an inventory here. Braun Strowman has something, but I don't care the way they're presenting him. I can't put my finger on it. The most interesting guy out there, in my opinion, is Lashley. I think over in TNA, that guy turned him into something.
And you know what's sad? Nobody saw that.
Nobody saw it, and
except for us. We were watching it on Destination America.
Dude, and God bless Kurt Angle for still being out there. That's my thing that still pops me every time is the "you suck" when he comes out.
So
which of these wrestlers?
About Braun. Can I ask you? You said Braun Strowman doesn't do anything for you. Explain that.
No. I said he has something. He's got something. I just don't know that this is the best way to present him. I don't know that I have any good ideas for him. Maybe it's not putting him in the ring with this guy. Here's the guy that I don't like is the guy that just got thrown out of the ring, Corbin. He does nothing for me.
And you remind me so much of Corbin.
Shut up.
Everybody out there listening, if you want a picture of Doc, a mental image of Doc, it is Baron Corbin without the tattoos but with hair.
That is such a misstatement.
Really? Damn, Braun.
If you put Bobby Lashley through Michael Jackson skin bleaching and give him hair, now that looks like me.
No. Craig, we talked about the Jason Witten thing on the last live feed we did. That's actually up right now for patron members. So I would get Doc to cut a promo because he hates Jason Witten, but he kind of did it this.
I don't hate him. I don't hate him. I just call it like it is. Okay, I like Drew McIntyre too. I think Drew McIntyre's all right.
Okay. No, I like. See, that's another guy, Drew McIntyre and Lashley in Impact back when we were watching it was some good stuff. Like they did intriguing things with him.
Why does this deserve a 6-man tag though?
That's what gets me about this. Sometimes I'm just that's where I get lost. Because they did it last week. If somebody out there will remind me.
Yeah, what is Lashley, like 38?
I don't know. What do I look like? No, have everybody's age memorized? Somebody out there do the math for me out there and post it in the chat.
I hate this move. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
Which move is that?
Jumping out of the ring on people.
You mean what Finn Balor's about to do? Or maybe he already did
he just did it. Now he's about to do it again. Oh, no.
See, that's not bad. Why do you hate that?
It's just silly.
It's not. When he does that flip over the top, you know why it's not silly? Because they're not waiting for 10 seconds for him.
Well, okay, so the move where they all stand there in a huddle and hold each other, fall down together when somebody jumps on them is the worst move in wrestling.
That I agree
I'd rather
with.
watch I'd rather watch the Young Bucks start every match on the card with the super kick than watch that.
Bobby Lashley is 42, according to Coach Chase on the chat window.
Damn.
I didn't realize that he was that old. I thought he was not that. That's
He
old.
still
Shit,
looks good
I'm
for
older.
his age too. You know that black don't crack thing is real, right?
Okay. Have you ever
Man,
seen my
you
mother-in-law?
know they
she doesn't look her age.
Yeah, that's what I said. Man, that show that they run after Raw, Temptation Island, what a bunch of scumbags that shit is.
I don't even want to talk about it. I'm not giving that any more. No. We're at a commercial break on Raw, everyone. We are 25 minutes in, and this is the second commercial. Can you imagine? Let me ask you a question. We got to call our guest in 5 minutes. Imagine when Cornette watched Raw, but he watched it on his on demand, and he couldn't fast forward it. Can you imagine that?
I would imagine that he had the same feelings as if like one of his sweet puppy dogs was hit by a car while he watched, and he just had to sit there and watch it die.
Would you have had? I know the answer. I'm just gonna ask it. Would you have had the patience to watch it on demand without a fast forward button? No.
No.
I don't know how he did it.
I didn't make it the whole way last week, and I was trying to stay up and watch Ric Flair's birthday, and I couldn't do it.
Jeff Trent, commercial breaks are more entertaining than Raw. Yeah, last week you went to sleep. You tapped out. So I'll tell y'all the story real quick, and then we got to call our guest, who is an ROH talent. So we'll be calling this person shortly. But so when Doc, he would not leave me alone in the morning. He kept asking me how it ended. And I was like, you just got to go watch it. There's no way I can explain to you. And then if you're a patron of our show at tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT, I can tell you he hated it, but you'll have to listen to that of how angry it made him that Triple H made Ric Flair's birthday about himself and did not allow Rick to celebrate. So there was that. You were very hot, though. Very, very hot.
Okay.
You don't have nothing else to say.
I've recovered.
All right. How much are you looking forward to Mania while we're in this commercial break?
Well, on a scale of 10, if 10 was like Starrcade 86 and 1 was the WWE Monday Night Raw, I'll give it a 3, maybe a 2.
A 3 or 2? Is you and Latrell going to watch it?
Maybe, but it takes like 4 or 5 days to get through it because it's so long.
Good Lord, you're not kidding.
I think somebody's getting murdered out in the hallway, dude.
You talking about in my house?
No, at the.
Oh, I thought you could hear my wife in the other room. She won't shut up.
So, which of these 6 guys do you like the most?
Do I have to pick one?
Yes.
If I'm gonna go with no, that's not fair. I need to pick 2 at least.
Well, do something, shit.
Okay. I'll go with Finn and Braun.
Okay.
I mean, Kurt. I mean, nothing wrong with Kurt. He's just he's the old guy in this equation, and I'm gonna pick Finn and Braun. I don't have nothing against McIntyre or Lashley. I actually like both of them, but if I'm going with who do I like the most, it's definitely Finn and Braun.
Who do you like the least?
I think Strowman is a future. Who do I like the least? Corbin bores me, but I think he's done fine with what they've given him. But he just kind of bores me. But he looks like you, except you have hair, and you don't have facial hair, and you don't have tattoos either because you're a twat. But,
what? Why does that make me a twat? God made me perfect the way I am. I don't need to add to it at all.
Okay.
I'm one of God's perfect creatures, sir.
We are a religious and politics free zone. Let's keep that in mind. We don't need to talk about that here.
I can't profess my love of my Creator.
Sure.
As we sit here in communal fellowship with all of our good friends tonight.
Hey guys, if any of you have questions out there, post them and I'll try to get to them in the chat. as we slog through this six
Well,
man.
this match is some serious just quicksand for my interest.
Quicksand?
Yeah, my interest is drowning in a sea of this quicksand.
Will Hartke wants to know, Mike, is Sasha in the other room watching that fake Total Bellas stuff? No, she's actually working out to some stupid workout video. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Doc. I didn't mean to cut you off.
What kind of workout is Sasha into these days? DDPY?
Some stupid video workout that she always does. It's really, really dumb. I can't do it. Dennis Hoffman, condolences to you and Doc for suffering through Raw. Craig Walston, so is there an angle connected to this? I have no clue. I remember it last week briefly, Craig, but I'm not really sure.
And I got to tell you, though, whether it was Benoit or Angle, those multiple German suplexes was always a nice visual. And Angle's looking old.
Yeah, he's looking old. I really liked when Benoit did it.
And I liked Angle. I like Angle just fine. I like him a lot, actually. But, dude.
It was a nice little run with, I know, and I'm not saying they all were in like the same angle, but it was a nice little run when it was McIntyre, Angle, and Lashley in TNA. I thought they really did some good stuff.
There was a lot of good stuff. Eric Young stole that man's that war veteran's prosthetic leg, dude.
All right, let me
funny.
Let me add in our guest. Where's he at?
Are those sloths?
Are those what?
It's a commercial. It's a perfect metaphor for what this show is.
Trying to dial up our guest right now. See if he can see if he'll answer. He says he's on, but he's not showing on Skype, so Brawler.
Hey, what's going on?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's mostly gentlemen listening to this. I just called up. I can't call him the old name anymore. He is now the Brawler, Brian Milonas from ROH. What's up, man?
What's going on, Mike? How are you?
I'm good. I'm sitting here with my co-host, Doc, who, if you ever want a visual of what Doc looks like, he kind of looks like Baron Corbin, except with hair and no tattoos. He's
I look like Bobby Lashley, but white.
Brian, this is Doc. Doc, this is Brian.
Well,
what's up, Doc?
It's great to have an actual professional podcaster and wrestler in the booth. Since I usually have to deal with this mud show outlaw bullshit, Mike Menace.
Boy, not kind words to say about you, Mike.
Oh no, of course he's he always gives me shit. Him and Harper. Hey, so I wanted to bring you on, man, because I knew us trying to slog through 3 hours of Raw might be a little bit of a challenge, and I promised you we wouldn't talk any Raw with you. Doc and I are just kind of watching the first 30 minutes, so I figured I'd bring you on and see if we got any listener questions. But before we get started, you are now under contract with Ring of Honor, and tell me how great that makes you feel.
Oh, it's unbelievable. 17 years to get to that point, and it was very surreal. And the funny thing is, it was probably the easiest conversation I've ever had in pro wrestling. I think you build up these things in your mind. In reality, it was a very quick and easy process, and I can't thank Ring of Honor enough for the opportunity. And it's pretty sweet, man. I don't know if it made it sweeter after all this time. I don't really have any point of reference, but I'm just enjoying it.
Yeah, you and I exchanged. We'll go behind the curtain. You and I exchanged a couple texts when it was going down, and you had kind of shared with me it had happened like right before you like I guess officially announced, or as you were officially announcing, and I always have a soft spot for guys who. 17 years is a long time to beat the paths of the independents and making those towns, and sometimes not making much money, sometimes going in the negative, making money if we're being real when you first start out, between gas and expenses and all that stuff. paying for gear. So I know it was special for you because I mean, let's face it, nothing came easy. It all took time. If it came easy, it probably wouldn't mean as much. So I would guess that meant a whole lot to you that it didn't come easy. And after all those years, you kind of settle into it. And it's like, whew. I guess I don't want to say you sit there and you're not relieved in the sense that, oh, I made it, I can not do something now. But it's like, it's almost like a validating process. Or do you feel more validated now, I guess is what I want to ask.
I mean, I don't know if I feel. I mean, I guess in a way it is validation. It represents more of kind of a seismic shift in the industry. To be perfectly honest, like I mean, and you have to have confidence in yourself in this business, and I've always felt like I had something more to offer than I had the opportunity to, as far as the platform, whether that be WWE or like a TNA or Ring of Honor as they started to grow. I always felt like I had more to offer, and especially with where I trained at the Chaotic Training Center, it was very WWE centric. It was very WWE or bust, and I wasn't cookie cutter, and a large part of. And I'm not making excuses because it just my journey is my journey, but it was very much a 6'2", 240 sort of era. A lot of guys that all looked sort of the same from a body standpoint, body guys, if you will, and there wasn't really a lot of room and opportunity for different looks and different body types at that point. That's not an excuse. That's just facts.
What was the cookie cutter? We've said it a bunch of times. 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, 240-pound chiseled. Yeah,
yeah.
But you look at a guy like Hansen too. That guy was having the best matches in New England a decade ago, and he wasn't cookie cutter either. And it's ironic that when he stopped trying to be cookie cutter and he found this look and this character and this style of wrestling, that his career took off.
That Doc, you've probably never seen like photos or videos of Hansen before he was Warbeard Hansen, or have you? Let me ask you.
No, my first exposure was when they joined ROH.
So if you ever saw video of Hansen, I've seen some of the like pictures you've posted, Brian, and some that Crockett's posted. It's amazing, the transformation. I mean, unless you know that's who he is, you would just some of the photos I've seen, they look nothing like what he is now. So and like you said, he kind of went with that look, and him and Ray they were before you guys were in ROH. Them and the Briscoes were my favorite tag teams there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're doing great things, and and the Briscoes, their resume speaks for itself. I can't wait till we lock horns with those guys again, man. They are something else. They are unbelievable, and for all the comings and goings in Ring of Honor, it was one of those things where I knew we'd be all right, because when I look to my right, I see the Briscoe brothers, and I look to my left, I see Jay Lethal, and that makes the world feel right. Especially for at least my time in that locker room and my perception of the company as a whole, before I joined it.
So how soon until you and Milonas, you and Bruiser win those tag titles? Because I sense it in the future, man. So let's be bold about this. I'm just kidding, man. You don't have to predict that.
Hell with that. I'll make a bold prediction. I say before the calendar turns this year.
Before the calendar turns, Brian Milonas says him and the Beer City Bruiser, the Bouncers, are going to take care of the Briscoes. There, you heard it. So I didn't even have to really bribe him to say it. I didn't even have to pull it out of him. He just predicted it. There it is. Man.
Yeah, you got to believe in yourself. You got to have confidence, and we have every opportunity right now to make that happen. I'm talking in a very real sense. The opportunity is there. It's right there in front of us, and you can kind of feel it with, the different places that we've gone in the last few months, and that people are really digging us and really starting to come along with us. And it's awesome. It's an unbelievable feeling.
Yeah, no, I thought from the time I told you, from the time you guys got together, that I thought it was a perfect match. It really was. With Doc and I have been. I mean, this is Doc. It's been what, 3 years since we had Bruiser on. It's been a while, hasn't it? When was Bruiser on? Bruiser was on in 2015 on this show, and I think you and I had agreed at that time that, like, man, that guy's got something. He's different. And I thought when you guys got together that it was just a perfect fit. Phobos271 on the chat, those belts won't fit around their waist. I don't really think they care about that. Right, Brian?
No, I mean, hey, maybe we can talk to the powers that be and get them to invest in some belt straps, you know? I don't care if the belt fits around my waist or not. Damn. I mean,
you get the belt extension
just, I don't
gimmick,
care
man.
what you call me. If we get those belts, I don't care what you call me. Just call me world champ, all right?
There you go, man. And everybody out there listening and paying attention to our Raw watch along, we just took a segue because we got one of the very talented members of the Ring of Honor roster, Brian Milonas, the brawler Brian Milonas. So we are kicking it with him for a little while. That's why we got away from Raw. So just to let everybody know out there, we didn't bail on it yet, but while I got a spectacular ROH talent, I think I'll talk a little ROH. So yeah, I know Phobos, I know you're killing, I know you're joking, I know who you are. So thank you. All right, so. Hey Brian, you got a bunch of stuff going on though, man. So first off, I mentioned the wrestling podcast about nothing every single week on this show. Twice a week actually on the two shows. So you and Crockett started doing something new recently. So you wanna mention that trucking the territory? I love when Crockett does that.
I know, it's terrible. It's awful. It drives me crazy. I really wanted to actually do like a little jingle or something like that, but Mike has his little things he likes to do. But yeah, trucking through the territories. There's a lot of there's just a lot of like territory type things that we haven't seen before.
We know. We're the territory gods, man. Come on, as much as you bash us, we are the territory gods. I had to get that in.
But we figured, like, if we haven't seen it, there's probably a lot of people like us who haven't seen it. So we thought it'd be a really fun idea to literally truck through as if we were like getting in a car and doing it. And that's how we're kind of going. We're we started in the Northeast with the WWF, and then we went to Quebec, and then to Toronto this time. Not physically, but metaphorically, I guess. But we're gonna explore kind of an episode of different television programs from the different territories, and sort of make our way kind of around North America and the United States, and just kind of see what we missed all these years.
No, you've missed a lot. As much as you like to bash the territory, since you're, a WWE and a Hogan guy. Hey, Doc, I'm going to get you hot. Brian Milonas is a Hogan guy. What do you have to say to him?
The only guy more overrated in the history of the wrestling business than Hulk Hogan is Sting.
Hey, it's cool. I get it. You guys like those regional stars that, from...
I like wrestling.
Brian and I go back and forth on Twitter a lot of times about this, although we've settled down recently. I was told by your illustrious co-host, Michael Crockett, that he was going to bring me on for an episode of Mid-South. So he told me that, but he's never got back to me. And but Mike takes a long time to get back to things. If you know how he is. He can procrastinate.
Oh, my. Yeah, it's the worst. Like you know what the worst thing about? Let me tell you a Mike Crockett story here. The worst thing about Mike Crockett is when the answer. Say you're like, hey Mike, let's get together for dinner or something. You text him. If the answer is no, he never actually answers no. He just pretends like he never even received the text. Like just radio silence from the guy whenever the answer is no to something. He can't just nut up and say, hey, no, thank you, I'm not going to make it. It's always just radio silence, and I have to actually badger him to answer me.
Well, he's
We have a
sheepish.
guy. Well, shut up, Mike. We have a guy you should meet. His name is Hardbody Harper. He just doesn't show up.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
How many shows have we done? How many shows have we done where we just never heard from Harper?
Maybe 2 at the most, and it was something that came up, like he forgot or something. It's not that he just doesn't answer, though. You know how he is. He doesn't have kids, so he flies by the seat of his pants. I mean, he takes life by the horns and bangs squirters with no protection. So, I mean, what are we talking about here? I mean, we're talking about a different type of beat. No, I got to go back to Crockett for a second. I want to tell, do you remember the New Jack story Crockett told that time, Brian?
I don't know if I do. You have to refresh my memory.
Okay, so, and I may be getting this wrong because it's been like a year and a half since I heard this story, but evidently he was refereeing on a card that New Jack was on. And would you agree that Mike is kind of like, I don't want to say he's passive, but I guess he is in many ways?
Very. Oh my
Okay.
God, very. He avoids confrontation at all costs.
That's the word I'm looking for. Not so much as passive in life in general, but when it comes to confrontation, he's going to back off and just not deal with it. So New Jack, I think it was New Jack was on a card and Crockett's sitting on a Crockett and Crockett's sitting on a stage before the show. And New Jack comes out from the back and New Jack screams something like, hey, y'all got some cocaine out here? I gotta ask Crockett the story.
Oh, I remember this story. Yeah. I don't remember the full details of it, but
and Crockett shrivels up and is scared to death because New Jack just screamed at, and he looks up like, "Oh my God, he's gonna kill me!" Mike's got a lot of stories, though, man.
He does. He really adds an interesting perspective into. Other than just being my friend, but he really does have like interesting perspective. He's been around, like at least kind of like on the fringe of the pro wrestling business since the early '90s. I mean, you're talking about a guy who he was the cameraman at Triple H's first career indie match. Like that's so. I mean, while he wasn't totally in the business, he was at least around and saw some interesting things. And I think between that and just all the different jobs he's had and wrestling and between getting looks by WWE, getting looks by Ring of Honor, he just adds a really interesting perspective because he really has seen it and been around it all. And Mike is somebody who he'll listen to this. I don't even want him to hear me say it, but he's somebody who should have had a job in pro wrestling on a bigger stage. I mean, the two best referees I've ever worked with are Todd Sinclair, who's been the senior official for Ring of Honor for I don't know how long at this point, and Mike Crockett, and it's really damn close. It's like 1 and 1A. I mean, Mike is we like to give him shit for blowing up 2 seconds in the matches when he does referee now, but Mike is one of the best referees I've ever been in the ring with, and he deserved better in his career.
Yeah, when he was on the show with us, he talked about not being, he didn't use the term aggressive, but assertive enough and really going for it, and he kind of just was passive with it. So I know exactly what you mean. He's told me this story a bunch of times where he didn't grab it by the horns and take control of it to where he could be that referee you see on Raw or SmackDown or ROH or wherever with a national company. He freely would admit to that. And I mean, he really does have some great stories related to just his time in the wrestling business. And like you said, the thing with Triple H. I do have a question for you. I know the answer to this, but I think some of the listeners do. We got a question. So are we going to see you at MSG? I think I know what your answer will be, but I will let you answer in the way that you know the answer to be.
Well, Mike's going to kill me. Yes. Yeah, I will be there.
Whoa, so we get the exclusive on it.
Well, it's been alluded to. It's one of those things like I just don't want to jinx it. You know what I mean? Like it's I haven't even fully wrapped my my brain around it yet. I haven't, like, my brain has not fully comprehended that. A month from this coming Wednesday, I'll be in the ring at Madison Square Garden. Like, and it's just, I can't even. I just haven't even comprehended it yet. You know what I mean?
That's how Mike felt when he was in the Kenner, Louisiana VFW Hall.
Actually, since you want to be funny, jackass, I performed in one of the buildings that was not MSG for obvious reasons, but it was a staple of Mid-South wrestling, and that was the St. Bernard Civic Center, which is a a decent sized building. Nothing like MSG, obviously, not a big arena. I mean, we're talking 3,000 people can fit in there, but I performed there, and it was a very nice experience to do so. You jackass. Okay, now the municipal is still standing, but it is in ruins. That would have been a dream of mine, but never happened for obvious reasons. But no, that is great news. So Mike Crockett, if you listen to this, eat it and bite me. Booking the Territory got the exclusive, and this was not planned. Brian Milonas will be at MSG, and I'm assuming tagging, and any opponents known, or we can't give that away?
I mean, I can't say what's going on really because it hasn't been announced yet, but I'm just really excited to freaking do it, man. Like it's mind blowing to me. I don't know. I think for a lot of us, it's mind blowing, but just when I think about where my career was at a few years ago and just kind of thinking I was going to, just like, okay, I'm just going to, I did it. I've had tryouts. I've had looks. It didn't work out. I'm just going to be a local guy, and that's all I am, and that's okay. I come to grips with it and come at peace with it, and then fast forward a few years, and here I am, on the biggest wrestling weekend of the year, going to be in the middle of the ring at the most famous arena in the world. Like I don't even know, like, how do you put that into words? How do you even freaking talk about it? It's mind blowing.
Doc has his WrestleMania moment every day at work when he hits the RVD pose, because that's the only crowd he'll ever get. But no, I know it means a lot to you because you grew up a WWF fan, and Hulk Hogan was your guy, and MSG is the arena, and it's like to finally be in there. It's one of those things where when you walk out, I'm pretty sure you'll take a deep breath and, absorb it for a second and then be like, all right, let's get to work. So it's a cool thing, man. I'm happy for you.
Yeah, and I think that, it's funny. I really thought about that, of making sure like I just take an extra second to like just almost take like those mental snapshots of like, holy smokes. And I've had a few opportunities to do that. I mean, even just at the Hammerstein Ballroom, when we wrestled it was a dark match, a final battle, but just to be there on Ring of Honor's biggest night and in the heart of New York City, and that moment, those are the cool moments. And I mean, I like to give you crap about Southern wrestling and things like that, but just I mean, even to go to some buildings, like we went to the arena in Nashville, the Municipal Auditorium, and just looking up some of the things that happened in there. In that building, Ric Flair recapturing the world title versus Ricky Steamboat. Of course, there was also Hulk Hogan versus The Butcher, but we don't have to mention that. But I think that's been one of the coolest things, though. Honestly, is being a pro wrestling fan and going to some of the buildings that we have, whether it's the Municipal Auditorium in Nashville, the Lowell Memorial Auditorium up my way, Hammerstein Ballroom, Center Stage in Atlanta. Like that's awesome stuff. I can't tell you how many times like I've tried to watch WCW Saturday Night and figure out like, how they set it up compared to like how Ring of Honor sets it up.
I've looked at that too because I've watched the Ring of Honor shows that have been there. And it's the lighting and everything is so much different that I mean, unless you knew, I mean, I guess if you know the buildings enough, you're going to notice it. But I've done the same thing just from a television perspective. I mean, you've actually been there to see it, but I've tried to look at it as well to see, oh, wait, what the heck is, like, how did they have it set up versus this? You said something that's funny, though. See, he likes to play heel on Twitter with me, but he will text me. That is not a joke. He texted me when ROH was in Nashville, and he's like, man. He's like, this is where Steamboat and Flair did battle. So he's into that Southern wrestling history. Don't let that New England state of mind fool you. He talks that talk like he's this Hulk Hogan WWF guy, but he knows where the bread is buttered, and he understands that when it comes down to it, the Southern Territories made the thing go. So, hey, Doc, you got any questions for Milonas?
Yeah. Is Jay Lethal as cool a guy as he seems like he would be?
Yeah. I mean, Jay Lethal is, in a word, he's the man. I know that's kind of like somebody else's character right now, but I mean, he is the unquestioned leader of the Ring of Honor locker room. He is, the guy there. He's the deserved champion of Ring of Honor. he's a guy who is often one of the first guys. Almost every match I've had there, he's the first one of the first guys I'll encounter that will give us feedback and coaching and tips. And to me, there's nobody more respected in that locker room. And he's just, I feel very fortunate. It's one of those things where you look around and and feel very fortunate to share the locker room with him. And that's not just me spewing the company line, because I've actually known or been on shows with Lethal for a number of years. There was a promotion I worked for up here that brought him in every month for a few years. So have a lot of exposure to being around Jay, and just somebody who I'm very grateful to to share a locker room with it and really feel like I can call a friend.
Okay, I got a follow-up here. Outside of you in Beer City, is Silas Young the most underrated man in wrestling?
He's one of them. He's the workhorse over there. I think he's one of those guys that no matter who you put him in there against, no matter who he wrestles, no matter what match he is on the card, the match is going to be good, and the crowd's going to be entertained, and he's going to go out there and just be unbelievable. Silas is awesome. I'm grateful for where we're at, but I was a little sad that when we weren't with him anymore, but because of his talent. But he's another guy too in that locker room that you can lean on when you need ideas or you need help or you're just looking for a little feedback, looking to see if you could have done something different. Like he's another guy like that. But yeah, you're right on. He's unbelievable. Silas is great, and there's a reason why he was so heavily pursued by other companies when he was a free agent for a brief time. And I'm another guy I'm really happy that stayed with Ring of Honor.
And then I got one more question. I know you don't like Southern wrestling as much as Mike and I do, but if you ever found yourself fortunate enough to meet former NWA World Heavyweight Champion Tommy Rich, would you be more respectful to him than our friend Mike Mills was in his encounter with Tommy Rich?
I don't think Brian knows the story about Tommy Rich. I don't think I've ever told it to him unless he's heard it on the show. But go ahead, Brian.
No, I don't know this story. I would like to think I'd be very respectful of Wildfire Tommy Rich, but what did you do, Mike?
I want Doc to tell you the story. I want Doc's version of it. I want to see what spin he puts on it.
Well, I think it was because you tried to steal Tommy Rich's 8th pitcher of beer pre-match, and he got hot at you and told you to get the hands off the merchandise. Is that right?
That's not what happened, man. Can you be more serious? Tell him what actually happened as you recall it.
You tell him. This is your story to tell. Hey, it's not everybody that I don't know, just a whole bunch of people that disrespectful to a former world champion. So I think you should tell the story.
All right. So, Brian, you've worked in everybody out there who's heard this a million times, I apologize. Doc loves bringing this up because I don't know why. And so there's that. So my apologies if you've heard this before. Brian, you've worked in many of small buildings, pro wrestling, right?
I have, including last night.
Okay, and when I say small, I mean literally the changing room, quote unquote dressing room, sometimes may be as small as a broom closet. Would you agree with that statement? Have you been in situations like that?
I have indeed.
Okay, so the short version of this story is, I walk in, and like anyone would normally do whenever they're on a show, as Triple H is in the ring on Raw. I just wanted to throw that out there for people who are still watching Raw that are listening to this. I walk in, and Tommy Rich, this broom closet is maybe 5 feet wide by 10 feet long. I walk in, and you can't avoid him. So in a gesture of respect, one of my good friends is behind me. I extend my hand, and I say, Tommy, Mike, nice to meet you. My hand is sitting there for 3 to 4 seconds. He doesn't say anything. He keeps his head down, and he looks up and says, I don't give a damn what your name is, boy. So, as to not be punked in front of him and the rest of the locker room, I pull my hand away and I start walking away. And he says, he realizes, first off, nobody was taking a joke. There's about 8 guys in this long room and nobody's laughing at the joke. So I just kind of like start walking away. I'm like, all right, well, you played me, but I ain't about to I'm not going to show you got over on me. So I start walking away. And as I walk away, he extends. He says, oh, man, I'm just fucking with you, man. My name's Tommy. Nice to meet you. And Doc gets mad because then I kind of like halfway extended my hand, but was like, yeah, whatever, dude. And I just kind of like brushed him off and walked away. He called that disrespecting a former NWA world champion.
No. So you told the short version, because how many pitchers of beer had he had at that point, did you say?
I mean, the cup wasn't never empty, brother. This is back in like 1999, maybe 98-ish. I can't remember, man. It's been a long time. The Eye of Gibson, I know you're out there. Thank you. I see it. He's in Twitter jail. He wants everybody to know he offended someone, but the Eye of Gibson is out there. The Eye of Gibson is on the chat. Okay, so that's what happened, Brian. He was very disrespectful.
I mean, at least you didn't ask him where's my pizza.
I don't get that one.
No, he was part of the FBI in ECW.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The crowd used to chant, "Where's my pizza?"
Yeah, the full-blooded Italian. He really is. He's a piece of work, though, man. At least my experience when I was around him, he was a piece of work. Brian, I got a non-wrestling related question for you, and what Phobos 271 Steven wants to know why you are a Steelers fan. Now I know this answer, but you live in New England and in Patriots country, and he wants to know why you're a Steelers fan.
I do. So very short version. My pops was a Steelers fan, and the Patriots sucked when I grew up, and nobody was Patriot fans around here. Like none of my friends were Patriot fans. Everybody liked the Cowboys or the 49ers or the Raiders, and my dad was a big Steelers fan, and that was like our thing. That was our way of bonding. Was through Pittsburgh Steelers football. And
if you ever want to, Brian, what's your Twitter? Is it at Brian Milonas?
It is, yeah, at Brian Milonas.
Okay, I had to plug this because if you like football and you like seeing people cut promos on Patriots fans, fucking from August through January, Brian Milonas is consumed with cutting promos on Patriots fans all season long. I don't think he goes to sleep. Somehow he tweets out about the Patriots all season long. But anyway,
it's like fishing with dynamite, man.
It's like fishing with dynamite. But you make a good point. Nobody was a Patriots fan when they were losing, right?
No, hell no. They were everybody. I mean, I had an uncle who was a big Oakland Raiders fan. Now all of a sudden he's a Patriots fan. My cousin's ex-husband was this big Giants fan. Went to games with my father at Foxborough Stadium. Cheered for the Giants while they played the Patriots. Then when they started winning Super Bowls, now he's a big fan. Everybody was a fan of somebody else, and then they got good. All bandwagon guys, but then they all tell the same story. Oh, I remember the 3 and 13 years, and we suffered. It's like, no, you didn't. You cheered for the 49ers then.
Oh, Jesus. It's very entertaining watching Brian's tweets during the football season as a Steelers fan. He even cuts promos on his own guys.
Yeah, even the meltdowns I have during the lately I've been going out of my way to try to get Antonio Brown to block me, the asshole.
You've been kind of stiff. You're working stiff, man.
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah. I think if Doc knew how to use Twitter and did not like troll from his wife's account, he probably would be as bad as you on Twitter related to the Cowboys as you are with the Steelers. I could see that. He would actually cut promos on his own team from time to time because he hates Jason Garrett and so on and so forth. Right, Doc?
I hate my owner, my general manager, and my coach.
Well, 2 of those are the same person, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I really should put if I really wanted to gain social media followers, I would just put a camera on myself during whether it's the Steelers or I love baseball too. So during, especially like during the World Series last year from the Red Sox, I watched the clinching game by myself, and I was I mean, you're talking about a team that's up 3-1. Even if they lose the damn game, they have 2 more shots to close it out. And I like can't even stand like how tense and I'm like pacing the living room. I think I almost woke the kids up when they won. I mean, my wife sat down next to me. She likes to do that thing where she doesn't really pay attention to sports, and then there's like a really key thing happening, and she wants to ask 50 questions. So it's Game 5 of the World Series. They get a chance to win it, and she starts asking me questions, and I just literally looked at her and I go, you know what? I don't want to have this conversation right now. I am very tense and stressed out. Like, no, I'm not doing this. Like, you haven't watched all season. You don't care.
Doc, they're all the same, man. They're all the same, Doc.
Black, white, brown, old, young, fat, skinny.
They're all the
They're
same.
all
Man.
the same.
They're all the same. They get mad at us for doing this show. It's a long story. Yeah.
How's Total Divas, by the way, Mike?
I haven't.
Yeah, how
actually,
is Total Divas?
No, it's funny you ask. I haven't been watching Total Divas this season. Actually, I don't even think it's on right now. The season, but I do know that Total Bellas is on because a couple weeks back, my wife was like, "Hey, do you want to watch Total Bellas with me?" And I was like, "I'm not watching that Outlaw Munch show bullshit." So she's been all into it this season. Evidently, there's all kind of stuff going on. It doesn't work for me.
What about Ms. and Mrs.? Are you in on that?
She watched a couple episodes of that. I only saw like the previews. I haven't really watched it, but yeah, it is what it is, man. No, I don't. Crockett and I did a Patreon special episode on Total Divas, and I was actually shocked how much your co-host Mike Crockett got into Total Divas. He was really into it, man. He was he was cutting promos, and we were listening to everything going on in the show. And it was when Nikki and Cena were getting mad because Dolph was hitting on Nikki. It was actually beautiful. It was some of the best writing they did for the show in its existence. Like, you could tell it was all a work. It just was so obvious. But I haven't been keyed in on it at all, man, at all. Not this. I got away from it, and my life is a lot better for it. Their writing went down. They weren't booking good angles anymore, man. It's gotten rather stale. You got to have some major drama going on between the women for it to have any type of sticking power, in my opinion. And it just it's not been good.
I'd rather watch an AAF triple header than watch the Total Bellas.
AAF is not that league's out of money already, aren't they?
That's a rumor. That's not true. I actually listened to an interview that the investor gave, and he didn't lead on to anything like that. But anyway, Doc, you got any more questions for Brian Milonas before we get him out of here?
Hold a second. Triple H is cutting a promo.
That's yeah, we're gonna stay away from that right now. I promised Brian I would not talk WWE while he was on. I would.
I mean, we could if you want to. I'd talk about some of my friends if you want. I mean, I think I know he's not on Raw, but what's going on with Kofi Kingston is just unreal. I think that's unreal. Which I think that's really cool to see.
I hope. No. You and I were texting during that Elimination Chamber match. I really want to see him win the title. I know it's not a popular opinion. People go, "Oh my God, he's so small. How's he heavyweight champion?" I've read all the detractors, but the guy has put in his time, and I know that's not supposed to be a reason to give somebody a belt, but he is so damn talented. He can go. He's great. I want to see him win the world title. I just want him to. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I think he deserves it. I think certainly, I think the opportunity is right there for him. I hopefully they pull the trigger with him and move forward. I mean, the one thing I can tell you definitively about Kofi is, he is one of the best people I've ever met in my life. Like as a person, as a human being. And he's literally the same person as the day I met him. So it's just somebody who never forgot where he came from, and has worked incredibly hard for a long time. And when you look at his resume, whether or not he wins the WWE Championship, the guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer and somebody who I mean, he's going to be a lifer there. He'll probably have a job for life at WWE. What I think what he means to that. And you know what's I think the coolest part about this, Mike, is not just seeing the fans, but seeing all the different guys in WWE just tweet about and actively rooting for him. It's just unbelievable. I think it speaks to who he is as a person, and literally to have just this groundswell of fans and wrestlers from all over the place, and just be behind him. It's really cool, and I hope they do go all the way with him.
You want to tell, and we're running. I've had you a lot longer than I wanted to because I know you got kids and stuff. But you want to tell the people how you know Kofi, because I don't know if everyone knows that story, because he knows Kofi really really well, and I want him to share that.
Yeah, I mean, so we started at the same place, the Chaotic Training Center in North Andover, Massachusetts, Killer Kowalski School of Pro Wrestling. The first, that Kofi's first day of wrestling school, I happened to be the one running the beginners ring. So I got to be with Kofi the first time he stepped foot in a professional wrestling ring, which is pretty cool. And he was somebody that he fit in like a glove there with those of us that were there working hard every class. And but yeah, I've known Kofi since the day he started in wrestling, and never, he's somebody who, when he got signed and moved on to, like, you never forgot where he came from, and stayed friends with I posted a picture recently, and it's my favorite picture that I've taken in 17 years of pro wrestling. And that's it's me, it's Kofi, it's Tommaso Ciampa, it's Warbeard Hansen, it's our friend Max Bauer, who was Axel Keegan in NXT. But it just represents the group of people that I really feel like I came up with. And Kofi was only there for like a year, truth be told, before he got signed. But it's just the group of guys that when I think of, when I think of my younger days in wrestling, when I think about starting out in wrestling, when I think about cutting my teeth, and when I think about a lot of the good times I had, especially early on, that's the group of guys that I think of, and those are the guys that I remain friends with all these years later.
And what's interesting was I had heard Kofi tell the story about when he got signed, and they were running him through all the paces. Like he was doing all these, I guess, tryout matches, and he was the guy that they were putting every guy in there with. Like, at least I seem to remember that's how the story was when he got signed. But and you were there the whole time, and he gets picked up, and he's just a young guy, and look at him now, 10 years later, and it's amazing, man.
Yeah, I mean, here's a fun fact for your listeners. The tryout camp so we had a tryout camp at the wrestling school at Killer Kowalski's. It was when Nova was running developmental. Simon Dean, Mike Bucci, when he was running developmental, and Arn Anderson was there, Dean Malenko was there, Tim Horner was there.
Oh boy.
And I'm trying to think. There's one more agent there, and I can't remember who it was now. But so we had a tryout, and there was a select number of us, there for the tryout. And the match that day that Kofi had was Kofi versus Warbeard Hansen, believe it or not. Kofi got signed off of that tryout. Warbeard obviously much later, but I think that's a pretty cool, I think, fun fact for people out there.
Very, very interesting. And now we hope to see him win the world title. So there it is.
Hell yeah.
So wait, did you say
Tim
Tim
I can
Horner?
talk current WWE.
Oh, of course you get. Did you say Tim Horner was at the tryout?
He was an agent. So there's literally like a group of them came to
that's awesome.
Came to the training center. But yeah, he was there for a short spell, I think. I don't think he was there all that long, but overall in WWE, I mean, I'll give you, I'll give you a taste of what. And nobody had to take their shirts off that day except for me and Max Bauer, and that's it's like we get in the ring. And Dean Malenko's done it twice to me. There was that time at that tryout where he said to me and Max Bauer, "All right, guys, shirts off," and nobody else had to wrestle with their shirts off. And then one time at TV, it was actually the last time I was ever booked as an extra. It was me and Warbeard Hansen. And we get in the ring and we get ready to go, and they go, "Oh, shirts off, guys." Okay, shirts off. So I felt like looking at him like, do you not want us to wrestle? Like, are we wasting your time right now? Like, that's what I kind of felt like asking. And then that we saw two guys later on who had just come back from like a tryout in Tampa, and because they were affiliated with a former, I'll leave the name out of it, but with a former WWE superstar, you know, they got a look, and then Triple H came down to watch them have their tryout match, and it was awful. They got stopped in the middle of it because of how dangerous it was, and these guys just came back from a week, and later on, one of the people, you know, one of the guys backstage pulled me and Todd aside and told us how well we did, and then just started ripping on these other two guys who just got a tryout. And that was kind of like the beginning of the infamy mentally with like, oh my God, I'm done pursuing this with WWE.
No, that's a cool story, man. So, Doc, you got any more questions for Brian before he gets out of here?
Sure. One last question. Who is the greatest wrestler of all time, and why is it Ric Flair?
He's gonna say Hulk Hogan just to piss you off, man.
I mean, in my mind, it is Hulk Hogan, but that's a lot of sentimental value. I will say I do love Ric Flair. That was my dad's favorite wrestler. We watched a lot. My dad actually did not love WWF, but he was a big fan of. I used to watch WCW Saturday Night with him every week. My dad loved WCW, or you know, I guess the show was called WCW.
Yeah, no, you're right. But once you got to 85, I mean, it was WCW. I mean, NWA, WCW. But yeah, we know what you mean. Crockett was like the Crockett was basically Crockett was JCP was controlling the NWA at that point. They weren't technically, but I guess they were, depending on how you look at it. So yeah.
Yeah. So that, I mean, he was my dad's favorite, and I loved it when he did come to WWF. And I mean, Ric Flair is I mean, I can't sit here with a straight face and tell you that I think Ric Flair is not, you know, maybe the greatest in-ring performer of all time. I think it's him or Shawn Michaels probably from the actual in-ring work standpoint, you know, but from nostalgia, from watching him as a kid, I mean, the reason why I probably ever even tried to become a pro wrestler is falling in love with Hulk Hogan, and but you know, Ric Flair is unbelievable, and I could watch Ric Flair matches all day.
Yeah, and so your age too is another reason why you're a big Hulk Hogan fan, because you.
Yeah, I was 6, 7, 8 years old, right in the prime. You know, WrestleMania 3, I was 6 years old. You know, so that's like prime territory for Hulkamania. You know.
Yeah. I mean, it's exactly what it is. So, all right, Doc. Any more questions for Brian before he gets out of here and rides off into the sunset?
No, I can't pay any more attention. Ascension's out.
Okay. I don't see Ascension. I see heavy machinery and the B team. But Brian,
heavy machinery is if you took like War Machine, but crossed them with like High Voltage.
Okay. Oh my. You're wrestling.
That's a hell of a reference.
Yeah, man. You remember High Voltage from WCW, Brian?
I do remember High Voltage. Yes. Good
Lord, I forget what year. So you're 17 years in. You didn't start until 2002, then.
2001. Like November though. So okay. I'm in my 18th year of it at this point.
Gotcha. No. I mentioned that because like when I got into the business, they were. I mean, I was in the business while I was watching them, and I always I loved High Voltage, man. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. It wasn't that they did anything special, but I loved them, man. They were kind of cool to watch and whatnot. And there was so many people on that WCW roster at that point. It was ridiculous. I mean, if you think about it, if you sat down right now and just started writing down names from the roster in like 90, 95, 96, 97, man, they had so many people under contract. It was ridiculous. So I was a big fan of them, though, man. So, yeah, you see, Milonas did watch the Monday Night Wars, and he watched that WCW stuff. Don't let him fool you, man. He likes
did. I mean, if you look at it, too, like, especially you're talking mid-90s, you look at, like, a WWF card from, like, 94, 95, like, holy shit, like, so bad. Yeah. And yet I watched it, and I loved it, and I didn't know any better. I didn't have Twitter, and I didn't have a million people telling me, that Duke Drosy versus Hunter Hearst Helmsley sucked. You know what I mean? Like, it was just, I was a kid and I loved it, and I loved it all. I loved watching. I watched as much wrestling as I could. My Saturday mornings were watching Superstars and Challenge. I'd watch Saturday night on Saturday nights at 6:05 TBS time. Sundays I'd watch All American Wrestling, primetime wrestling when I could sneak up and my parents couldn't hear my TV in my room. So I was just, I couldn't consume enough wrestling at a very young age, and I was very crazed and obsessed with it.
I think that makes three of us, man. I mean, we were all the same way. Doc, you like to act like you weren't, but I mean, we would Jones for any type of wrestling we could find back in the day. I mean, you'd be flipping through the channels and see something, like, oh my God, you'd stop it and you'd watch. And yeah, so I mean, no matter what it was, WWF, WCW, I think we all went through that phase, man. It's natural. And the beauty of today's realm is, I say it all the time, if you don't like WWE, as we watch Raw in the background here, you can watch ROH, and there's a variety, is the spice of life when it comes to wrestling these days, in my opinion. So I will leave it at that.
Yeah, there's no shortage. Yeah, there's no shortage. I honestly don't get the people who piss and moan about WWE and then they still watch it every Monday, and then they still watch every pay-per-view. It's like, there is so much wrestling out there. You can watch your fill of wrestling and never even turn on WWE if you don't want to, if you don't like it. And that's what people don't understand. They think it's a saying I'm really fond of, and that's the opposite of love isn't hate. The opposite of love is indifference. And if you start look at the way they're reacting right now, I think WWE is reacting to ratings and things like that. But just, that's what, if like booing and social media interactions and things like that, that's just, I mean, that's publicity. All publicity is good publicity. That you're talking about it. That's what a company wants. Whether it's WWE, Ring of Honor, AEW, they want to drive, especially now, they want to drive social engagement. And whether that's good or bad, if you're talking about it, that's a higher social engagement for them. But if you don't like something, don't watch it. Don't consume it. Watch Ring of Honor. Watch AEW when it starts up. Watch Impact. Watch New Japan Pro Wrestling. Watch all these independent promotions watch. Beyond Wrestling up here is going to have a weekly live web series that they're starting. Watch that every week. Like, there's no shortage of wrestling, so there's no excuse to be like, it's supposed to be fun, and if you're miserable watching something, find something else to watch.
Well, it's clearly, you said that. Like I actually like NXT. I don't watch the weeklies, but I always watch the specials. But not just that. You're talking about all the current stuff. The beauty of today, and Doc and I talk about this all the time, is we have everything in history at our fingertips as well to watch and enjoy. Right, Doc?
Yeah, as soon as I can get my hands on that Ron Fuller Southeastern tape collection, I'll have it. I'll have it all.
Yeah, we basically, so we have so much to watch, and man, Steven Javorsky, I see you out there, Phobos 271. Everything he said, along with Impact and ROH, that dude, Steven, you watch more wrestling than any human being I know. You watch every single promotion there is. And you have a full-time job, which is even more impressive. So, plus you have a girlfriend as well, which is, God, you are a legend.
Nobody believes that.
Yeah, you had us till then.
No, he does, man. He's a good dude. He's been a patron of our show for a long time. But anyway, he watches everything: New Japan, MLW, Impact, ROH. Oh, I'm sorry. He says on the chat room he's got a wife, so he watches everything, though, man. But Brian, I know you've got a show coming up too. If you want to, before you get out of here, mention Astromania and anything else you want to mention related to the Wrestling Podcast About Nothing or whatever else you got going on with ROH. Yeah,
so if I don't plug stuff, Mike will get mad. So I me and Mike Crockett do this every week on our own. WPAN, the Wrestling Podcast About Nothing, drops every Monday. We're on all the different podcatchers. I mean, do people? I don't even know what a Podbean and all those, but just if there's a podcast app, we're on it. And you can also find us at thewpan.com, and we're the WPAN on all social media. My social media is at Brian Milonas on Twitter and Brian Milonas ROH on Instagram. And I got so I'm really I've done a lot in pro wrestling. but I've never promoted a show until now. So I'm very excited to promote a show and help bring wrestling back to my hometown, Derry, New Hampshire. I'm a member of the community here, and really excited to bring pro wrestling back to Derry, New Hampshire. And going to be a really fun night. I'm bringing the Bruiser in, so the bouncers will be here. AstromaniaLSW.com for tickets. Shows on Saturday night, March the 30th. So coming up here just in a few weeks. And yeah, man, my Ring of Honor schedule is picking up like crazy. You know, coming up, we got a 17th anniversary pay-per-view and television taping in a couple weeks in Vegas. After that, Pittsburgh and Columbus. Then War of the Worlds. I think it's Buffalo, Toronto, Grand Rapids, and Chicago. And then, something I'm really excited for, to go to the Pacific Northwest for the first time in June. So it's exciting, man. I got a lot on my goddamn plate.
I'm sure you're not complaining, though, man. This is kind of what you work for a very long time, which is cool.
I'm grateful. I'm truly grateful and humbled by just the opportunity that I've been given. And, it feels good to also kind of reward, or feel like I've rewarded the faith of people who never gave up on me, who have been there since the beginning, and have really supported me with that, friends, family. I can't say enough good things about a guy like Todd Sinclair, who we started together the same week at pro wrestling school, and he's been so instrumental in helping me get an opportunity in Ring of Honor. So I'm a lucky guy, and I feel lucky, Mike, and I feel grateful, and I love pro wrestling, and I'm glad to have the opportunity to extend my career, hopefully for a very long time.
The best part about you and Bruiser is the entrance from the bar.
I think there's a lot of guys who want to fight to wrestle us, if just because they get free post-match beer.
Yeah, y'all are coming from the bar. Bruiser's been doing his keg for as long as I've watched him in ROH, but y'all come from the bar. Y'all got the beer in y'all hands, the beer cups. It's a cool little entrance, man. The crowd gets into it, and y'all got y'all little theme music now and whatnot, or entrance music, I should say. It's a fun time, man. So I enjoy ROH. I fully believe, and I've told him this a million times on Twitter, Ian Riccaboni is fantastic as a commentator. Him and Colt are great as a team. Even when Caprice is in there with him, it's still damn good. But y'all got some good stuff going on in ROH. So just keep it up, man. And I appreciate you taking some time with us tonight. Almost an hour, man. So this is your third or fourth time actually being on the show. I'm going to cut this in and put this on the main show. I know we're doing YouTube Live, but I'll cut this on the main show and post it in a couple of weeks or so. I'll make sure I do it before Mania weekend and MSG and all that. But that way, if you're listening live or you see it on our YouTube channel, you got that exclusive with Brian Milonas going to be at MSG. Mike Crockett.
Don't tell Mike. Shh. Don't tell Mike Crockett. Yeah.
Somebody's going to tweet him just because you said that. But no, man, I appreciate your time, and I appreciate it, man. This has been a lot of fun. So, Doc, if you don't have anything else, man, we'll let the Milonas go and get back to doing what he does in life.
All right,
Brian.
Thanks, fellas.
No problem.
Take care.
Catch you another time, bud.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was fun, wasn't it, Doc?
Well, nobody tell Milonas I haven't watched ROH in over a year, but I'd rather talk about ROH that I don't watch than talk about the Raw that I was watching. Now, I did take some notes here while it was going on here. We did see Natalya and Ruby Riott, I think, come out, and I was thoroughly bored by that. I don't know who Lacey Evans is, but she walked out looking kind of like a Lana knockoff.
That's what Corny was complaining about when he reviewed Raw a couple weeks. He's like, well, I still don't know what the deal is with her. So if anybody out there in the chat room knows, type me a long message there, and I'll maybe make sense of it. But go ahead, Doc. Keep going.
We had a couple of writers from Saturday Night Live come out and talk to Steph, and all I could hope was that Stephanie's shirt would fall off.
That's nice.
Well, okay, so they showed her last week with Ronda, and the one thing I forgot is how much she just stands there and, looks down on her talent because she's taller than them, and she wears those boots, and she makes Ronda look like a midget. Way to go, Steph.
All right.
Heavy Machinery ran a gauntlet on I don't know, Axel and Bo Dallas and Ascension and Zach Ryder and Slater or I don't know, some crew of guys. I thought, I couldn't hear it, but I thought Triple H cut a pretty fiery promo there on Batista, because he was talking about Rick. Like, every time he got a phone call when Rick was in the hospital, he thought this was gonna be the call that Rick was gone, and he said somewhere in that promo he talked about he was there with Rick when he buried Reed Flair. So I know you don't like Triple H, but at least they were talking about some real stuff, some personal issues, you know.
Let me ask people out there who are on the chat if they actually heard the Triple H promo, what they thought about it. So, give me you loved it, you hated it, and why on the chat. So keep going, Doc. This is a nice little recap you got going on here, man.
Yeah, Titus O'Neil. Remember when I wanted to name him Mandingo?
You gotta tell that story. The Eye of Gibson will love that, because I remember he had tweeted me something about that. You said involve him in an angle with Stephanie. You want to explain what you said back in about a year and a half ago or so?
I just told you everything I remember, but man, he's Mandingo, and Stephanie's in love with him, and it's bothering Triple H.
And Triple H walks in the room, and Stephanie is doing what to him?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
You're trying to say something. Oh, wait a minute. Who's this?
Okay, now he doesn't remember. So King Chivas says it was great. It was perfect to work the angle. That's No Way Jose. Yeah, King. We were talking to Brian while he was on, but I mean, yeah, it was. He looked fired up. Let me say that. Man, one of the members of No Way Jose looked like the what do they call that? His extras. I can't even think of the name of it.
So Torrey Wilson's going in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Doesn't seem like a great thing, or what? Just kidding.
Man, that chick was all the way live back in the day. God, look at that.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. So, Doc, you see now why I wanted to bring on Milonas, because you get an hour and a half into the show and you just you run out of things to talk to, man, or talk about.
I swear to God, I thought, I looked down and you were just jabber-jawing with him. And I was like, okay, we got to be into hour 3 here. Nah. But see, here's the thing. All the listeners are going to say we cheated because we kind of took our eye off the ball with Raw.
No, I had it on the whole time, but my thought process was to do exactly what happened. Like, we'd come back to it and ask, and I mean, like, see what's been going on, and yeah, I mean, you can't. There's no way you can talk about this stuff for 3 straight hours. You do realize that, right?
I could talk about what I'd like to do to Torrey Wilson for 3 straight hours. Man, if you put vintage Sonny, and vintage Stacy Keibler, that would be a tough decision.
Which one would you go with?
Man, that's a good question. As bad of a broad as Sonny has always been, it might have to be Stacy Keibler, dude.
Have you seen pictures of her lately?
Who?
Stacy Keibler.
Sonny? All you got to do is take a picture of Sonny and draw some prison bars.
Come on, dude. Really?
What? Hey, I'm not the one out there hanging and banging, getting my 6th DWI.
That's nice. Wow, Charlotte is really tall next to Charlie. Really tall.
Charlotte knows what she's doing.
Hold
too,
on.
man.
Sasha's in here fussing. What's wrong, Sasha? She looks like a what?
Amazon woman.
I don't know if y'all can hear that, but my wife said Charlotte looks like an Amazon woman. I don't know what that's.
Tell her to stop being racist.
When I think of an Amazon woman, I don't think of her.
Amazon women aren't white.
Well, I didn't want to say that, but that's where I was going with that. Yeah. Hey, are you still watching? We were talking earlier. Are you still watching Total Bellas? Are you all caught up? No. She's lying. She's saying no, but she. So, all right.
Here's the thing. She's going to tell you how stupid it is, but then she's going to go right back in the other room and watch something that's equally stupid. So
I'm trying to think of the dumbest thing she watches on television.
Mm.
Oh, she watches this show called Love After Lockup, and Doc.
Oh my God! Is it about
Google it.
people who fall in love with prisoners?
You gotta Google it, and I have seen a little bit of it, and it is the outlaws of outlaw, muddiest mud shows I've ever seen in my life. It is terrible. People hooking up with people who just come out of prison, and it is the worst. Like when you see that on TV, it makes me wonder, why is Harper not on television talking about wrestling? Or why does Harper not have his own show? You know what I mean? It's so terrible. It's so terrible. It's the worst. We are told on the chat that Charlotte cut a great promo. As always, Doc isn't lying. Sparks, I'm not sure. What is he not lying about, if you could clarify?
Charlotte inherited that talent from her dad. Now, her dad's the GOAT, so she can't live up to that, but Charlotte's a talent.
Hey, but seriously, you want to talk about her? Remember a couple years ago, she cut that promo, and I think they were actually in Dallas for Raw, and the crowd, like, flustered her real bad, and Rick was out there with her. Do you remember that?
Yep, I bet that wouldn't happen today. I bet she's learned how to handle that.
Not at all. I've seen her last few promos on SmackDown and Raw, and I think she commands it, and she does not get off of her game. And part of that is experience, but part of that is also probably in the blood. She's really good, man. She is turned into a tremendous promo, which doesn't shock me at all. But you know. But I will never forget that Raw where she had the mic and the crowd is just flustering her, and your commentary. I just remember certain things you say on the show. This is back when we used to review Raw. Remember that, Doc? How much fun was that?
Jesus. We used to do this for a living. This is some bullshit. What were we thinking?
I don't know.
Man, my closed caption is going off. This is a problem.
But your comments on that episode, if I recall, was, man, this scripted bullshit is for the birds, and this is crap. We got Ric Flair, who's the best talker of all time out there, and he's sitting there with his hands on his cock as his daughter tries to get through a scripted promo. It upset you so much. You were just frustrated, as frustrated as I've ever seen you with the current product.
Well, you know, I don't know. I was pretty frustrated last week when you don't have Rick come out for his 70th birthday.
Yeah. Hey, I have a question for everybody on the chat. Sparks wants us to do a 6-hour pay-per-view. Hell no.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, okay, so here's how that works.
The Von Erich thing would go down.
It's behind the paywall. And your normal patronage does not get you in for this. It's an extra high paywall. Where it's like $15-$20 per person.
I don't think that's fair, dude. They're only paying $9.99 to get the pay-per-views. How are we going to charge $20 a month for that?
And I'll take off work next Monday, and I'll get really drunk, just sloppy, and just cut promos. So they've actually done a couple of things on here that actually seem halfway decent. Charlotte, Triple H, okay, maybe two. But you gotta sift through like 2 hours of bullshit to get 7 minutes of gold, or not even gold, just silver.
Yeah, that's a problem. But you see, that goes back to what we always talk about. The problem is you have so much time to fill And then God have mercy. How many commercials are they on by now? This got to be number 10 in an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes.
Well, that's why they're here, but maybe somebody should learn how to work a headlock. But see, that's the problem is Vince hates wrestling.
Vince don't hate wrestling.
Vince hates wrestling.
Hey, everybody out there who wants to, I get this all the time, and I'm not just in the chat window. Anybody out there who wants us to cover the current product, and by us, it's not going to be Doc. Maybe Lance Peterson would sign up for it. I would let's get to $155 a month Patreon members before I commit to that. Because that's just more shit I gotta produce and more stuff. And like I said, Doc would not sign up for that. That would be Lance that would have to. That would have to. Lance would want to do that with me. There's no way you and Harper would do that. Is that a correct statement?
That would actually make Harper angry, and I would just walk away.
Can you see Harper being pissed about that? Brah.
Dude, he used to get pissed off when we watch it when we did the current product, and he would just stop watching Raw and just bullshit. People may not know that, but like the last couple of months that we did the current product, Harper never watched it. And it never crossed Harper's mind to like branch out and try to watch Impact or ROH either.
I don't think. Do you think the people realize how close we were to losing Harper if we didn't switch to talking current wrestling as Elias sings in the background?
I don't know because I didn't know Harper that well back then.
I don't think he was gonna stop doing it, but I think he was getting to the point where it was like, bro, I just can't do this no more. Because I remember one time he said to me, bruh, I put on Raw. And it was like I took Ambien or a sleeping pill. He's like, I can't stay up for it. I can't stay up for it. I just can't. I fall asleep. I can't do it.
Elias just made a joke on an Eagles fan that said he beat the horse manure on the side of the road.
He clowned Atlanta last week when he clowned them about blowing that lead in the Super Bowl. Elias is good, man. Don't be fooled by it. Elias is real good.
I like him. I just, again,
you can't
how
what?
they're presenting these guys. It's how they're presenting them. These old guys know how to work, though, man. Because if Road Dogg came out right now and started cutting his promo, you'd be popping a little bit.
I guess. I'm trying to read what Elias is saying. He's talking about Bryce Harper now, and we got music that hit just now. Audience reacts because you got to have the music hit, and so the audience knows who's coming.
He's so mad.
Oh, we got Dean. That's right. Because Dean got hit earlier in the show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
As much as I love the people in Philly, I hope they have fun with Bryce Harper for 13 years.
That's a lot of money, man. That's a
long time, too.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. I wish I could just get a piece of that. I don't want 300. I just want 300.
Well, for a guy that hit 249 last year, too.
A lot of money for a 249 hitter. Not that I'm the biggest baseball fan.
If he's going to hit 249 for an average, he better hit 58 home runs. He didn't do that either. And he's a prick. He'll fit in great in Philly.
He's a prick. I mean, that's what you are.
What did that lazy eye Gibson get busted for on Twitter?
I don't know. He was actually DMing with me on Twitter. We're talking about Gibson now. Of PN News, I think you're still there, so tell Gibson we talked about him. He sent me a DM and he said all he could do was DM because he was in Twitter jail. And I was like, well, what the hell did you do? And he's like, I'm just a troll anyway. And he said I probably said something offensive to someone. So I don't know what the hell. I don't know what he did, but I think I don't think it's the first time it's happened to him. Dude, let me tell y'all something. If any of you guys out here listening tonight or any of our Twitter parodies, y'all got to stop working yourselves up into a shoot on Twitter, man. They got the best angles going, some of these guys, dude.
I'm gonna just tell y'all right now. I don't understand what this Bogota bullshit is. I don't know what y'all are doing, and to me, it sounds like a bunch of Dungeons and Dragons shit. But that's just me.
You didn't play Dungeons and Dragons?
No.
Did you watch the cartoon Dungeons and Dragons? As we're at another commercial, let me add.
Most assuredly, I watched the cartoon.
Okay. So I did too. I'm just saying. I mean,
I'm just saying. Hey, y'all get out here and live y'all's best life. I don't care. I just don't understand what's going on over there. That's all.
All right, so Raw is kind of slowing down, and a bunch of y'all are still in chat. So if you've got questions for us right now, now is the time to ask me and Doc, because we are, at least I am, running out of wind, to be frank. And
is
Doc,
Mike really black?
Oh, Jesus. I'm not answering that question. I get tired of you addressing this and talking about it.
Mike, can you tell us the Tommy Rich story?
Why do you bring that up all the time, man? And then fake Stan Lane always tweets me and says, he makes a joke out of it because he says I tell it too much. I'm like, well, Doc always brings it up. So anyway, any questions for Doc and I, ask them in the chat while we're, again, sitting here with another commercial. Every time I look up, there's a commercial. Even when we're talking to Brian, every time I look up, there's a commercial going on.
Man, they hit that stride in the second and third hour where they got to get those ads in.
Yeah, this is rough, man. This is rough. Tap out. This is hard, and I turned off Raw. We actually have a female listening to us that said that. Thank you, Alicia. I appreciate that. I agree. This is very hard.
What does Alicia look like?
I can't see pictures. I only see icons and names. When is Doc going on the iPod to discuss his parody hate with Gibson? Do you want to do the iPod?
What?
The iPod? Would you like to do the iPod? The Eye of Gibson pod.
What is? Wait, what?
The guys who gave me a couple of bottles of Hennessy and sent me some money. They have it's the Bogota podcast.
No. You're lucky I do this podcast.
He doesn't want to do it. So Matt asked that question, and he doesn't want to do it. Okay, Philip Allen and Phobos. I see who Alicia is. Are you DVRing the Mavs? We're getting an update on the Mavs right here from one of the listeners.
No, I haven't. Has Lucas scored 40 tonight?
Do you want me to tell you what's going on?
Sure.
I'm being told that the Mavs lost by 39.
Really?
I don't know how true it is, but a Mavs fan is telling me that. So anyway.
Well, they got their ass kicked by the Grizzlies the other night after we posted that the test for this show, and they got their asses spanked, and Booker Man was not happy apparently.
Really?
Yeah, he's kind of unhappy at all times, but apparently he laid into him for that. So apparently that he hurt their feelings.
All right, Doc, it's time to wrap this thing up, man. We've been going almost 2 hours, and I think we're running out of steam. Would you agree? And we both got to work real early in the morning.
Boy, they sure did lose by 39. Jesus Christ.
King Chivas wants to know, who has the bigger hog, you or Finn? Doc, you want to answer that? You or Finn?
The bigger wiener?
Hog, yeah.
I don't know. I've never seen Finn's penis, so it would be hard for me to say.
Rumor on the street is it's Robert Fuller-esque.
Really?
That's what.
Maybe you should ask Paige about it then.
Okay, here we go. All right, Doc, we're gonna get out of here, man. What's you got anything?
What are you thinking? What are you thinking about this, Raw? I mean, is it just because you're tired? Have they driven you away, or you just? I mean, Elias is
fully enjoyed discussing with Brian Milonas his ROH time and his contract and everything he's had going on with the Milonas. I'm sorry, the Bruiser, but Raw is just. That's about all I
Man,
can
see,
say.
I would make Elias like sleazy and like have some like skeevy like music groupies hanging out with him and just I don't know, make him creepy and like a
Standards and practices.
smell my finger kind of way.
Standards and practices. That ain't happening.
He's just always asking everybody to smell his finger.
That's nice. King Chivas says tapping out before Sasha comes out. It appears that way, King. I was waiting. And Sasha hasn't come out.
Nah, she's probably on Sunday Night Heat. Did they still do that show?
I have no, they don't do it.
Oh.
Yeah. I would love for Sasha to come out. But actually, she needs my
Why?
undivided attention when she comes out.
She's really not an attractive female, dude.
God, I love her.
You know,
what you want me to say.
You know Elias is not going to win here, right?
Well, Dean picked up a win not last week, which is why I keep thinking it's a work.
About him leaving?
I think it's a work. The way they announced it just made me think, like, why would they announce it the way they did? Most people just end up leaving, and I don't know. It just felt weird. I'm not saying he's not, but I don't know. Something about it just makes me feel like he's not leaving.
Does Ambrose have a necklace on? And is that safe?
I mean, safe. I don't think it would hurt him in any way. God damn.
Elias.
That knee looked bad. I mean, like, it looked like he nailed him. Oh, he just ate the pin. Dean ate the pin. Do you remember when Seth broke Cena's nose? Remember that one?
Yes.
God.
He spread that shit all over his face.
Jesus Christ.
So you're saying this knee right here is where he got him?
No, I don't think he broke his nose. I'm just saying that's what it made me think of when Elias hit him with that knee off the top. I don't think he clocked him at all, but it just made me think about that. Cuz it looked devastating when he hit it. It really did. And then that freaking swinging neck breaker that he did right there.
Are they both wearing jeans? That's when your neck breaker looked good.
Yeah, it did.
Are they both wearing jeans?
I guess Dean's got jeans on. I can't tell if it's jeans or slacks. It looks like jeans though.
They should run out there and whoop his ass.
Who knows, man. Damn.
Okay, so he's wearing a necklace. How dangerous is that?
It's not dangerous, Doc. I mean, you keep saying dangerous. Dangerous as in it could break. He's not going to get hurt.
You get your finger caught. You get your finger caught in that shit. You can't wear jewelry when you play sports like that, man.
Somebody wants to know. It's not somebody. Who's asking this? Matt wants to know. I assume there'll be a BTT Fast Lane review in chat. No, dude.
No. Has Phil Allen came in yet to ask where all the white women are?
Phil Allen, he's out there. He was listening earlier. He posted something. I can't remember what it was. He was talking about the whole Bryce Harper situation. Phil got you good. He said, tell Doc by the time Harper's Phillies deal ends, his daughter will be dancing at the bada bing. Got him.
What does Phil Allen care? What does Phil Allen care about baseball for?
I don't know, but he got you.
That's a white sport.
He got you though. He got you. Like I said, if you guys want a show on the current product, I'll have to talk to Lance and see what Lance wants to do. And don't sleep on Lance because he knows his stuff.
Who wants that?
Who wants?
Why would you do that to yourself?
Here's the thing about Lance. Unlike you, he doesn't have to like try to get himself over unnecessarily. And Lance is really, really smart. One, he knows his history, and when it comes to current wrestling, he really can put it all together. Like he knows how to bury it, while he also knows how to put things over that deserve to be put over. You're just a curmudgeon, and you like downing everything and just burying everything. That gets old after a while, in my opinion.
Then why don't you have Lance come on and start setting up Harper?
That would be. That would be interesting. I don't know. He's actually a lot a lot funnier of a guy than he is on a podcast because I've been around him. But can you imagine Lance? I mean, because you listened to the free show he and I did. Lance was good, but can you imagine him and Harper? Him and Harper would be great, man.
You gotta,
Lance
you gotta know how to work with Harper.
I will say this: you are a master at serving up Harper. You are a master at being able to give him something. You are a master at giving Harper baseballs to hit. You're like the batting practice pitcher.
I am John Stockton to his Karl Malone.
I can't lie, man. It's fabulous what you do to Harper. It's fabulous how you just know how to tee him up in a way that I just can't do it. I'm just not. I'm not there, man. But you will tee him up. Mike Prue says ROH review ROH. Mike, DM me. If you want to host look at here, you can tell I've been drinking or something. If you want to host an ROH show and you want me to put it up on the Patreon feed, DM me. Let's see what we can do. But I'm not. I can't host that show. I'm all tapped out. If I do the current product, it would.
Why do you want to do another show?
I don't want
to. I thought
but
we were going to stop doing these.
I don't want to. I'm trying to build the brand.
Build the brand. So I'm supposed to believe that Dean Ambrose has been down in the ring this whole time and they haven't walked out? What have they been doing in the arena this whole time?
I don't know, but while we're waiting, I have something to play for the people. Here it is.
What happens if she gets on the court against, I don't know, Djokovic or Rafael Nadal or Roger Federer? What happens? Who's taking a piss?
Harper's over there.
Oh, God. God. Hit the mute button, you savage.
You all right?
Jesus. Harper, be blessed and be a blessing.
Exactly.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. So now that we got that out the way,
what do you want to bet that toilet he's pissing in hadn't been cleaned properly since 2016?
Yeah, right. I can't stand a dirty toilet. Fuck that.
Harper, we learned tonight that Harper likes a clean toilet. Okay.
I can't stand that shit. How hard is
it? You make your mom clean it? You make your mom clean it once a week?
No.
Sounds like he does the cleaning on his own.
I guess so. Mr. Clean.
There you go.
What? I feel better.
He feels better. Hold on, Doc. It's when that first stream of tinkle hits that it just is great. Here it is.
What happens if she gets on the court against, I don't know, Djokovic or Rafael Nadal or Roger Federer? What happens? Who's taking a piss?
Harper's over there.
Oh, God. God. Hit the mute button, you savage.
You all right?
Jesus. He laughed as he was pissing, Doc.
You know, he's the Paulie Walnuts of our show here.
Oh, by far. By far. He's
and you are the veto.
Oh, come on, man. Don't insult me like that. Come on, bro. Come on, man.
You know what it means to be down there greasing the union.
Craig.
I really wish we were watching Sopranos now instead of this.
Yeah, man, no kidding. Craig, you asked how. What was your question? Hold on, Craig. You asked. Where's it at? Craig said, "How did Harper get started on Garfish? Did Doc set that up?" I actually specifically remember what happened. As Lord knows what's going on Raw right now. So Doc was. I said to Harper, you got a Bigfoot rant or anything you want to go off on again? And Doc buried me and said, Jesus, Lord, that's not how you set it up. And then you went into whatever you went into. And I was like, wow, he just went on a Garfish tangent that lasted another 12 minutes for the show. That's how
It just
happened,
popped
Craig.
in my mind that would be something that Harper might have some experience with. Well, after he was out there at the levees shooting squirrels, anything was sort of in play at that point. Uh-oh.
Doc,
The Shield, they're getting, yes, sir.
No, so is the Shield getting back together?
It looks that way. He's thinking about it. Conflicted. Oh, here he comes. He's going to be a good guy again.
I did.
Ambrose runs funny too. That's kind of a problem.
Doc, how about I challenge you to something? How about I challenge you to watch NXT? It's only an hour.
Man, for what?
Okay.
Just to watch it?
You just don't like wrestling anymore. You like old wrestling and that's it. Can we just come to that agreement?
I thought we were already there. I didn't know I needed to make that clear.
Okay, so there you go, everybody. So when Doc buries everything current, he likes classic wrestling. He does not like anything current, which I think is a wrong approach to take because there is some stuff that is good. You just kind of got to weed through it all. I don't think you can hate it all. I mean, there is good stuff out there. Okay, so is Dean now back? Oh, there's Standing Tall. The Shield Standing Tall. Oh, my. Dean, are you going to do it?
Oh, my. What a great moment.
What are you going to do it?
Inspirational moment.
Dean, are you going to do it?
He did it. My feet is ahead of yours. He did it.
Oh, my God. Dean ain't going nowhere. The Shield is back together.
Who cares?
They're back together. Oh, my God. They're back together. They're back together.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't have the time to sit around and try to find the stuff that's good. It's the same reason I don't listen to new bands today. I don't have time to discover it, so I go listen to the bands that I liked back in the day because I'm busy.
I hear you. I don't even listen to current music, so there you go.
You don't listen to any music.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Hold on, Doc. Hold on, Doc.
Oh, okay. I'm here.
Yeah. Drew Miller, that's actually a funny idea. How about a Patreon episode covering Grunt the wrestling movie? That movie was the shits.
What is that? I don't even know what that is.
You don't remember Grunt?
Mm-mm.
Oh, that's the type of thing I'm dealing with over here. So, yeah, you don't even remember Grunt. Grunt was good. It was funny. It was funny in a bad way, to be honest with you. Oh, up next, we have a Raw Tag Team Championship. I wonder if after 3 weeks now, the Revival actually get a win as Raw Tag Team Champions.
Look at Steph.
All right, Doc. I'm running out of gas, pal. What do you think, man? You want to shut this thing down?
We made it.
We're even losing listeners.
We made it to hour 3.
We did.
That's more than anybody thought.
We made it to hour 3. We hope you all enjoyed this. I don't know if we'll ever do this again. However, I'm going to talk to Lance and maybe we'll do something for during non-football season times of the month. If I have the time, maybe we do something for the pay-per-views and whatnot. We go live. Who knows? Give me a thumbs up out there. Give me a hell yeah. Give me a that's not a bad idea if you do that for the pay-per-views.
I should call it the snooze fest.
The snooze fest. No, Lance is good, man. Lance is good. Dude, you're just being a curmudgeon. Lance is good. Lance is really good. So we made it into hour 3. We didn't make it much further, so there you go. All right, Doc. You got anything to tell the people before we get out of here?
Well, I'm in Florida having some high-level wrestling meetings and some missionary work. So I should be back. No, I'll be on the moon for this week Saturday night as well. So sorry about that.
So
We're gonna look at Starcade. We're gonna do Starcade though, pal.
It's not this week. It's actually will be the one next Thursday. We record Wednesday and it airs the next week.
That's fair, but in 48 hours, I'm gonna be talking about Starcade, pal.
Yeah, something to look forward to if you're out there hanging with us.
I've already watched it, man.
Starcade 87 is going to be on next week's
Let's just cut it.
review.
Let's just cut it right now and get done.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, look, guys, we appreciate y'all tuning in for live Raw reaction, watch along, whatever it's called, even though we barely talked about Raw. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Thank you very much. And for Mike and Doc and Hardbody Hopper, who is not here, you know what we always say when we get out of here. Hit it, Doc.
Fuck it, bitch.